And hello, everybody. It is a rare afternoon chat, but welcome to Rick Snider's Washington, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit the thanks button. I do that for the algorithm, in case you're wondering. And we're doing an afternoon one here in Washington because I was hoping to get some of the European fans over in London and the UK and such. I'll give you a chance in the evening versus the normal. We do it at night. It's the middle of the night for you. So I thought, hey, let's give you guys a chance. It's Super Bowl week, new things to talk about, and whatever you want to talk about, we can do that. Just fire away on your questions. And Steve, you are the first one here. All right. Well, nothing's changed. I have no idea how many people in Europe will tune in, if anybody will. But on my Twitter feed, Rick Snyder's Washington has about 600 people in the UK who follow me and others smattered throughout Europe. So I thought, well, let's give them a chance to try this. And it's 8 o'clock in London. I guess 9 o'clock a little farther into Europe. So it gives you guys a chance, something to do. You type away your questions. Great part is I don't have to work through your accent to figure out what you're saying, although you may have to work through my accent to hear what I'm saying. And I do say Washington because I'm a sixth generation Washingtonian, and old Washington families say Washington. So I could say Washington, but it wouldn't be me. So if anybody has any questions over there, I got people starting to filter in. And if you're from another country besides the U.S., please put your country down. It'd be great to see if this is actually working or not, or if this is just Americans goofing off when they're supposed to be at work. Who knows? So, all right. So Super Bowl week, who are you picking? I'm going to go with Philadelphia because I think the Eagles' pass rush can catch up to Mahomes more. And Mahomes playing on that leg, he's been remarkable what he's done so far. But Philly's got a great pass rush, and I just think that's going to be the difference in the game overall. Of course, Jordan thinks I'm crazy and went with the Chiefs. That's fine. King of the North is here. Well, good. Yeah, love you, man. Love your ice wall. KC all day. Okay. And of course, Moody hates the Eagles. Well, I didn't say I like the Eagles personally, but I just thought that's who I think is going to win on this. King of the North. How you like that? So we already got Jon Snow here. Who's a true King of the North? Mr. Cool says the Eagles will outplay the Chiefs. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a good close game, 3-point game kind of thing. I haven't had a chance to really look through the side bets, as they call it. I'll look on my side note here. I get emails from the bookies all the time that tell me these things, including Jimmy Shapiro, who does, who's Jimmy work for? BetOnline.ag. Good guy. The length of the national anthem, you have to bet over under 2 minutes and 5 seconds. I mean, these guys time this stuff. I'm going to go over. Number of planes during a flyover, over under 5. I'll go over because I think it might be 6 on there. Scott says, I'd like to see what Cole Turner can do next season. Yeah, I really thought Cole Turner had a really good off-season camps and preseason, and they got hurt right at the end of the preseason, and that really just blew away his chances for the year. If you're a rookie and you get hurt in preseason, man, it's just tough for you to catch up. And it really was for Scott the whole time. Let's see. Will the national anthem singer forget a word during the anthem? Yes is 9-1. Wow. That's a decent bet to take because, a lot of pressure on you. King of the North says, you wouldn't believe Ron is going to roll with Hal. It's a make or break year. Do I believe that? As of February 9th, I believe that. But let's say that they get a new owner and he says, hey, my kid played with this quarterback in high school, and we should take him. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? So you never know. But I think the plan is letting Hal go in as the number one. That's really what Ron is saying. He'll give him the chance to be the first. And it's up to him to do well. If he throws up all over himself, then he's not going to be the starter in September. And that's why they have to go get a veteran quarterback at some point just to make sure. Now, I only got to see Hal, in off-season camps and preseason and, of course, the last game. And I like a lot of what I see with him. I think it's worth giving him the chance. And, in a way, Ron knows he has 2 years left. Veteran quarterbacks haven't done very well for him. Go ahead and ride with this kid, and if they change coaching staffs with the new owner, then so be it. But it's hard, you can't really mortgage. Ron's not the kind of guy who's going to mortgage the future, knowing he may not be here as part of it, and get it. Anybody see the Kevin Durant trade? Just on a side note, they traded 4 first-round picks as part of that deal to get Kevin Durant. 4 first-round picks over the next 7 years. Woo! Now that's mortgaging your future for a 35-year-old player. Suppose he gets old real quick. Oh, man, that's way too much for me to want to gamble. FD, do I think Chase will get his 5th-year option? No, because if Ron already said this, he's not changing his mind. So, no. And, Chase, let's look at what has Chase done to deserve it. Good rookie year. The second year, he came back and was not prepared, did not perform well at all in half a season, and then got hurt. In his third season, he played the last month. It was kind of mixed. I saw some things I liked and some things I didn't. That doesn't get you, $18 million. Well, it would be 17.4 if they pick up his 5th-year option. So if they let him play it out and they want to keep him next year, well, the franchise tag is 24.5, and that's where players go to right there. They're not taking less. So you're gambling $7 million here in a way. And if they pick a long-term deal, they still get that 24 somewhere in that contract. So it's a gamble on that. I don't blame him for not picking it up. Big Joe, 703, building an O-line, got weapons on the outside, a good running game. That's true. I mean, basically, this offense needs Hal to perform well and an interior offensive line in the draft and free agency. And I think they'll be okay. They got the receivers. The tight end, they've got a lot of depth. It was hurt mostly last year. Everybody got hurt in the tight end room. It was weird. But I think they got enough to work it out there, even if Logan Thomas doesn't come back. I don't know if he'll be a cap casualty or not. But I think this offense has enough power. Color says needs to let Chase go. Well, let's let the year go by and see what happens. Trade him, Grant? I don't know. What are you going to get for him? He's the number 2 pick in the draft. What kind of value do you see getting back? Do I see Payne getting paid? Asked Jordan. I know that they started talking about offers, but he sees what that franchise tag number is, and that's what he wants as part of his deal. I don't know. I mean, they're not going to keep Carson, so they're going to have some cash here. They're going to have a lot of money to spend if they want, but they drafted Mathis too to replace Payne. I have a feeling it's not going to get done. Why is it taking so long to find an OC, Antoinette? Well, Antoinette, I know you're an American. Don't give me that French name there that I think you're one of the Europeans. But Antoinette's a follower all the time. Thank you for doing so. Because they wanted to at least give lip service to the fact that they're going to try and interview Eric Bieniemy, who is the hot guy. So is Baltimore. In my opinion, Baltimore is going to end up with him. But Ron could say, well, we tried. And then he's going to go to Zampese. So he could go to Pat Shurmur. But if they're going to go with Hal, then you want to keep a coach that has all the same terminologies and stuff, stay on the same page instead of making Hal learn a whole new system for maybe a year. So my guess would be Zampese would be it if Bieniemy says no, and I don't expect Bieniemy to say yes. Color Guppies, Chase can't play disciplined football. Well, that's part of the problem. That doesn't mean you can't make it work. FD, how do re-signs work with ownership up in the air? Well, you have to go with what Dan Snider says for right now because he's the guy writing checks. And from what I gather, he's basically said don't change any light bulbs in the building. I'm getting out of here. I don't want to spend any money before then. So I think it's going to be a lean year, for free agency, and the new people won't be here in time. They could pick up some June people, but and that doesn't mean you can't find some people with decent prices. First year Ron was around, they did that. They got some really good ones like Logan and J.D. McKissick. Those guys were great steals that year. Do you draft the quarterback as well? Color Guppy says. Well, I don't think so, not unless something really falls to you. But if they do, they do. You won't go first round with one. King of the North, why go after Bieniemy? My opinion, he'll leave after 1 year if he does well. Well, so will the rest of them, kind of probably. So I don't know. I'm sure they would want to. I know that the OC coordinators are asking for multi-year deals. No one wants a one-year deal. So, and they all know that, hey, if they change coaching staffs, well, if nothing else, they get paid if they don't work anywhere else. So it's, they want an extended contract. Nobody takes a one-year deal unless you're desperate on there. All right. Anybody here from Europe? Anybody decide to take me up on this offer and come? If they don't, they don't. But also, there's this little thing called a thanks button below if you'd like to contribute to my financial well-being, which I know sounds like I'm a whore, but I do ask because this is my hour or two out of the day I'm working. So if you can hit the thanks button for a few dollars, I appreciate it. If you're watching on replay, which more people watch the show on replay than live normally at night, please hit it up. And this whole show starts over again after it ends. YouTube gives it a couple minutes and then plays it, puts it archived up. So if you miss anything, you can get it later. All right, Autismo 13. If EB does very well at OC, with the new owner cleaning up, he could be the next head coach. Correct. That is one of the trains of thought, is that if the enemy does well and the team, has other problems that they haven't done well and they change coaches, he might be here in line for the head job. It's a possibility. That's one reason why he might want to come here. All right, Grant. Ron deserves a chance with a new owner. Well, sure, he's going to get it. And Ron speaks well, and I'm sure he'll make his case for everything, and we'll just see what the new owner is and what he wants to do. He may have somebody else he wants. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen here. You just have to let it play out, quite frankly. All right, let's see. Well, we've got about half a normal crew here from what I see on people. Most people usually watch about 10 minutes of the show, maybe a little more, and then they say, oh, God. So you'll see questions recycled through here. I was kind of surprised. I thought a bunch of the Europeans would be here because they've asked me about it before. We have a lot of European Commanders fans, as they say, because the Redskins were the first U.S. team to go over to London to play a game in '92. They played a preseason game there right after they had won the Super Bowl. So, they're the hot team, comes there. Everybody, there were lots of fan groups for a while. We used to have Redskins fan groups come visit back in the 90s. And I remember one time they showed up at Redskin Park late, so they missed the staff there. And the PR guy came and got me and said, hey, man, can you give a talk? It was like a dozen people from Scotland. So I went out and talked to them and showed them around. It was after hours. I was still writing, and I did it for them. It's fun. I'm hoping to go to London this summer. I want to go to a Premier League darts match and get drunk with all the guys and yells 180. I mean, those things are fun. So I'd like to see that. Always enjoy going to Europe. I am related to King Henry I through his bastard son, of course. So I do have royal blood. I'm actually a Scottish lord, which will get me a glass of water somewhere. But, like most Americans, I have British ties of some sort, UK ties. Steve says, Ron's had 3 straight years of stumbling out of the gate. If he does that, he's got to go. Listen, I was saying, I think Ron was the perfect choice to be head coach of this team 3 years ago. He brought integrity to the organization. He was the calming factor in so much craziness that went on here. That said, at some point, you got to win. So you got to win. And here's the other end of this. If we look ahead to a new stadium in 2027, supposedly, there's going to be something I call the word of the day, which is PCLs, personal seat licenses. PSLs. I'm sorry, PSLs. It's married up. PSLs are personal seat licenses where you pay an upfront fee for the right to buy the tickets. So it's extra money they extort. New stadium could be thousands of dollars. Listen, people don't want to come now to FedEx. They're paying $10 offline, to get tickets. So they've got to win to make people excited enough to be willing to pay the extortion of a PSL. And in all fairness, if a guy's going to build a $3-4 billion stadium, he needs to get his money back, somehow. So it's all part of the game. So you're going to miss FedEx and those cheap prices, if we can call them cheap prices, through all of this. Grant's been a fan for 41 years. Oh, from Ledbury, England. There you go. I would like to hear how you chose Washington as your favorite team. That'd be interesting. And Color Guppy says, "My lord, thank you. You can just tip the hat if you see me going by. That's all. It doesn't have to be a full bow or anything." Let's see. Autisma 13. Yeah, he's going to bring up that fluke season where they went 15-1, thinking he could replicate that. Yeah, good luck. I mean, Cam Newton played great that year. The team played great that year. But they didn't win the title, by the way, even if they went 15-1. Yeah, I think 35 coaches now have won Super Bowls because some of them have won multiples. So it's 35 guys over a couple of generations. It's not easy to do that. Color Guppies would love to see a coach that is more innovative and forward-thinking. Well, we all do. We can't get Sean McVay all the time. Not a traditional type of coach. You need some new thoughts. Well, I'll say this. You need your coordinators and your young staff to especially do that. Even more, the coach himself can be the old guard because most of them are older. That's fine. But have some really smart kids working for you. I think Jack Del Rio did his best job this past year. I wasn't real happy with them the first 2 years, but they did do much better this year. So I'm not looking to kick him out the door. Scott Turner, he couldn't get out of his own way. Couldn't get out of his own head picking things out. And so now they're going to try something new, whomever it is. I've seen worse OCs than Scott, by the way, but I've seen better too. So we'll do that. Let's see. What else we got to talk about? You saw Dan Snider selling his home now. He's petitioned to be a British royal, so maybe he's on the chat line here now. But I don't know if it has anything to do with taxes or whatever, but it reminded me that when Jack and Cook bought 25% of the team in his first move to get it in the 60s, George Preston Marshall was the owner. And as part of that deal, that was only $350,000 for a fourth of the team. He said, "I need you to buy my house and apartment I have in D.C." So Cook had to buy both of those as part of the deal. To me, why didn't Dan tell whoever pays $7 billion for this team, it's $7 billion and $50 million, and you are buying a house and an asset. It's not like extra money. That's how I'd sell the team. I don't know if you have to pay a realtor fee for that, but. Steve says, first thing you need is an owner with deep pockets and enough sense to hire the right people and stay out of the way. Amen to that. Good luck finding them. Not easy. How many dumb owners do we see around the league? Dan Snyder's not the only one. Autismo, it's crazy how we let go Kyle Shanahan, all these guys. A lot of them were on the same staff in a way as Shanahan, so it's not like you blew it time after time. McVay was a pretty interesting one. They just weren't ready to get rid of the coach they had at the time, or else maybe you keep McVay, but the timing wasn't there. And McVay was a special case. His grandfather was a league exec. And I met Sean when he was early mid-20s. And this was the kind of guy you just said, woo, this guy's going to be something special. And he was. But sometimes you meet young people that you can just tell, wow, they're really smart. They know what they're talking about. That's McVay. I hope he doesn't go to TV. I hope he doesn't burn out and he stays coaching somewhere for a while. But not easy when you had great success at a young age. Ask RG3. People say, RG3. I say, RG3 is like 24 years old, has been a Heisman Trophy winner. They have a statue of him at his college stadium. The fans yell his name for all 3 hours of practice. It's hard not to have that get into your head a little bit, especially at a young age. Now I just know whatever. But, it catches a lot of people. Let's see. Autismo. Let's see. Guys are talking back and forth around it. So anyway, Dan Snyder's house for sale. We'll see. He's going to go live in England. I mean, I said, listen, you got to sell the team. I didn't say anything about leaving the country, but bonus. Let them be England's problem for a while. Those of you just coming in, I got a few coming in. If anybody's from Europe, I just wanted to see if this experiment will work or if it's just an American way of goofing off for the afternoon as we sit here and chat and do the time difference. Okay, let's see. King of the North says, do you think the ready, not ready injury saga with Chase made Ron question his commitment? His off-season commitment, the first off-season he had wasn't good at all. He was cutting commercials during camps. Well, that's a day they could do it. Listen, mini camps a couple of days in a whole 5 month period. Who's paying you? And people say, well, Chase needs to get paid. Chase is getting paid. Chase is getting paid by the NFL, a lot of money. That's where your first priority has to be. Once you're a veteran, you've got a few years under you. Okay, you can go be Patrick Mahomes and cut car commercials. But until then, concentrate on who's paying you. It's sort of like if you got a part-time job and you're worried about it more than your full-time job, well, you're not going to have your full-time job a whole long time. Don Allen says RG3 is a better analyst than player. I've heard that. I haven't seen him a lot as an analyst. I've seen him some. Interesting on there. He never got to be the player he could be for a lot of different reasons, including injuries and problems with Shanahan and his own self causing problems. So maybe he'll be better as an analyst. Let's see. Color of puppies. People yell my name, but they tend to add curse words. Man, yeah, I know how it goes. We'll curse it too. Hey, color puppy. Atismo, have I ever considered switching to Ravens fan? Well, no. No. And I'm also a journalist, so I don't think of myself as a fan, though I did grow up in Washington, and obviously I want to see the team win. I mean, who I want to see win? Dallas. And I think the Ravens, by the way, I've covered some things around them. Excellent organization, from the moment they came here. Good people, know what they're doing. Obviously, they win games. I have nothing against the Ravens at all. I don't think you have to, be all for one team and hate all the other. And I have a lot of friends who are Ravens fans, partly because when the Ravens came, the Redskins were kind of sold out all the time, and FedEx people couldn't get tickets, and they thought, well, here's a new team in Maryland. I can get tickets there. So I don't blame them for moving over, and they've earned the right to keep those fans, a couple Super Bowl wins in the last 30 years. Let's see. Color says, I think Chase was having a mental block coming off the injury. That's the thing they were looking to see. How would he do there? I think he's done okay there. But I haven't looked at the small details that might tell you some of that. That's really a coaching thing. I'm a homer for life. Okay, well, don't tell anybody. I have a street cred to maintain as a journalist. So don't tell anybody, but I grew up here. So, of course, one of the cool things about having this job, and I've covered the team, I started in '83 as a young reporter, had hair and everything. It was great. But I was just a young kid covering the team for a few years until finally '93, I became a regular. So 30 years as a regular, another 10 part-time on there. It's a long time to be around a team. But, I appreciate what, covering them has meant to this town and to my own life. So I appreciate things there. It doesn't mean I won't rip them when they lose. But I'm grateful I've written books about them. I've done a lot of things with this team. It's meant a lot to me. It's allowed me to stay in my hometown. So, I'm not hating on anybody. Any chance Lamar Jackson's the commander next year, SFD? I don't think so. And it's not, geography matters not at all. I think the money's too much. I don't think they're going to be willing to spend any kind of money like that to get him because he's going to be expensive. And Color Guppy says, yes, it's our area and our teams. Not easy. Yeah, but, to me, you're a fan of a team you grew up with. Now, if you moved here from somewhere else, which a lot of Washingtonians have, you can stay loyal to your old town team, or if you want to be part of Washington life and you want to, support the Commanders and other local teams, that's great too. You can switch allegiance, on that, or you can like both teams. I mean, there's no, loyalty police out there telling you what to do. Go be a fan of both if you want, and when they play each other, just enjoy the game. On there, I am a tour guide too. You see on the back thing, Monumental Thoughts is my website. In case you're coming to Washington sometime, want to go on tour, it tells you there how to get a hold of me and do it. And fans do come on tour with me now and then. We go eat pizza afterwards, talk football. Let's see. Who's the greatest franchise owner in this area? AFD asked. Man, I don't know. I mean, you'd want to say maybe Leonsis, but the Wizards have stunk under his tenure, and hockey has been consistently good and does have a title. Plus, he also owns the Mystics. They won a title. And an arena team, they won a title. But so I guess you have to say Leonsis, but it's not exactly a Hall of Fame for owners around here lately. Lerner hasn't done a very good job, in my opinion, overall. Though they did win a World Series, but when it came time to pay everybody, he didn't. Colored Guppy says, I remember getting Redskin football cards from the local police walking to school. Ooh. Well, I've got some of the old football cards too. I didn't get them from the cops, uh, but whatever. Oh, there you go. So those of you new to the show, thank you, Steve. He hit that thanks button and threw in $5. Man, where else can you give somebody something that costs you $5? So I do appreciate that. I wonder if there are any good books for sale for our friends across the ocean. If you go to Amazon.com on the UK side, you can order my books. You can't get them from the one here in the US because the shipping costs are so much, but they print them in England and you can buy them there. So the 100 things Redskins fans should know and do, and now it says Commanders fans should know and do by me. You can get those on there. So just buy them from the UK site and it'll save you a lot of money on that. And I still get royalties, so that's kind of nice. How do I think Hal will fare this next season? Asked Mojo Daddy Mystic. Good. I say he gets 2,900 yards. I haven't done this before, so we'll say 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. How's that? And the team finishes 10-7. There's my February forecast. I'll change it 10 times until September. Okay, let's see. You guys are not quite as chatty as usual. What else has been going on? Well, we have the Super Bowl again. We can talk about that for a minute. If you guys want to put up who you think is going to win, I just think Philadelphia's pass rush and Mahomes' leg will somehow combine. The Eagles will win. I know a lot of people say the Eagles didn't beat anybody in the postseason or whatever. You play who's in front of you. What do you say? You can't apologize for winning. They've been good. So I like the Eagles in this one. And let's see. There's a lot of propositional bets, as they used to at least call them. Let's see. Will Biden and Trump's Super Bowl picks be this correct? It's a little under even money. Yes or yes. Whoever money for no. How's that for one? What city will Biden say first during the pregame interview? Philly is 1-4, so it's a bad bet. 5-2 on Scranton. I don't think that's going to happen either. Well, I got a lot of Biden ones on here for that. That's amazing. Which will be said first after kickoff? Andy Reid's name or Nick Sirianni? About the same. Yeah, that's a bad bet. Anytime you want to bet on something that's under even money, that's a sucker bet. Never do that. You want odds to win. Well, Tom Gardner kicked in $5. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. This helps me spend a little time more doing this. As an old newspaper guy, some of you don't probably know me that well, but I have been a sports writer in Washington for 45 years. 45 years. God. And I was actually going to make this my last season covering the team. But when Snider said he was leaving, I thought, ooh, something good's going to happen. So I'm sticking around a little longer on this. And how long is my health going to be good for? Let's see. Jeff Antonio, thank you so much for kicking in too, $5. That's true. I am a Terp. Is Lito's Pizza the best on earth? Well, the original Lido, the one in Adelphi and College Park, their pizza is awesome. The chain, kind of a notch down, still good. But if you really want Lido, go to College Park. It's still there, new owners, but same recipe, I understand. Right next to the old Voo bar, and it's pretty awesome on that. Otherwise, I have a pizza show coming up next week with a couple of friends of mine. We're going to be 3 men and a pizza. And we're going to Rocco's over near Langley in Northern Virginia. And once in a while, we're going to go do a show from a place and eat pizza. And I tell you what, Rocco's pizza looks awfully good. So I think we're going next Thursday. So it'll be up soon after that on there. Most pizzas anymore, the chains are And, even Lido's, some places are better than others. Just depends on that operator, how he throws stuff on. So I don't know. I do like Tombstone for a frozen pizza. But good go ahead. All right, Andy wants to know, what's this go-to Super Bowl food? Well, I had a major health scare about a year ago, so I really had to stop, really watch again what I'm eating, lost some weight, that kind of stuff. So I haven't had wings in a year and a half. I do like wings, but pizza is my one vice. Crab cakes is not a vice. That's a regular. And here in Maryland, I eat crab cakes. I ate at a place called Mike's. I think it's called Mike's Seafood Place over in just off Annapolis. I think it's Severna. And man, that was awesome. They had crab cakes right now, like this big, and they have to be grilled. They cannot be fried. I think we should give people 4 years in jail to think about what they've done when they fried crab cakes. Um, but that place, that Mike's, was really good. I recommend it. So anyway, I did hear from my daughter today. She said she was going to bring buffalo dip and stuff. So we got the usual stuff. Nothing really unusual. Let me turn here. The sun's setting in the back of my house, and it'll get right in my cameras. All right. Let's see. Crab cakes are a must if you can get them. Yeah, I mean, a little pricey, but worth it. Maryland crab cakes, not the ones they get down in Georgia or in Virginia. They boil them. Boil them. What are you doing? I do have a video of how to eat crabs here on YouTube. You have to search for it. It's down below. I teach people no mallets. Not allowed to have a mallet. Poor thing's already dead. You don't need to beat it to death anymore. And no claws, anything to open it up, unless you're older and you don't have hand strength to do it. We're little kids. Your childhood friend owns Rocco, Tom. All right, well, can you tell him to cut the rate? Yeah, we were going to pay for it. Just sit there in the booth and do the show. So hopefully Rocco doesn't throw me out. I'm going to say something nice about his place. So tell him we're coming to bring him business, to say the least. I talk about pizza a lot. Talk about food now and then. I do something different. Like last week I did a piece on plant-based hot dogs, which weren't as bad as you might think. So I do try to eat a little healthier. I had a heart attack at Redskin Park 20 years ago. So when you saw a Buffalo player on the ground with trainers over the top of him, saved his life, that was me at Redskin Park. Kind of gave me some flashbacks, to be honest, on that. And, thank God he's okay. And I'm okay. I had a massive heart attack that day, right at practice. And the trainer saved my life. So, had to have open heart, all that stuff. So it happens. All right, Tom's connected. Good. Tom's connected. So, Tom, if you want to be there, come help. That'd be great. When are we going to Rocco's? We're going next Thursday, so that's a week from today at 1 p.m. So don't throw me out. we plan on being there. If you want to DM me offline, I'm glad to talk to you about it. But we're gonna, Rocco's has awesome pizza. There's a place in Washington called Pies, P-I, like 3.14. Which is also their internet code for the password. Funny people. It's right down the street from the Capital One Arena. A lot of Caps fans, especially, go there before the game. And Pie makes. They did make a Cuban pizza, which was awesome, and they stopped doing it for some dumb reason. What people don't know is that building was actually a morgue of sorts and a funeral home during the Civil War. And when they brought John Wilkes Booth back, after catching him, my cousin, yes, I am related to John Wilkes Booth as a cousin, they brought him there, So the place you're eating pizza was also where John Wilkes Booth was dead. They don't put that on the menu. Let's see. Are we bringing Matt to Rocco's? And Matt's got to work, Steve, but bring a couple other old sports writer friends of mine. Mike, who's really funny, and Dave, who thinks he's really funny. And Mike used to be a comedian, so he's really funny at times. Deshaun, does KD have a better shot to win a title in Phoenix than he did in Brooklyn? Well, he had no shot in Brooklyn because that sure didn't work out, did it? I said I was on the Junkies this morning, and I said, when's KD coming to play in Washington? Like his last season, the farewell tour where he can average 14 a game on 25 shots. I mean, I wish he'd come here. KD was one of the top 5 players ever, in my opinion, to come from Washington. Guys like Elgin Baylor, those types. Elgin's number 1. But KD, I think, makes top 5. I used to cover basketball a lot in this town years ago. It's a basketball town. Just we don't have a good team here to support. Wizards. Never give ups. Ready for Sam Howell next season. Yeah, I always wish have a Super Bowl, take a couple weeks off, and let's hit it again. That's how I feel. I know there's a spring football league. I just can't quite get into it. The quality isn't there. It's okay to watch. I can't watch it, really. I mean, I went to one live a couple years ago, and it was a fun diversion, but it's just not the same thing to me on there. So I just don't watch it. If you like the women's one, the Divas, they'll be playing in the off season. Divas are a good team if you want to go watch women's football. They hit for real. They have some good athletes on that team. Let's see. Who else we got? Hey, things are rolling along. Okay. 3:37 already. You guys are almost ready to get off work. I have no work schedule. It just all the time, whatever. Early, late, whatever. Could watch some soccer, says Steve. I guess. I like soccer live. Soccer live is awful fun. My first beat in a college paper was covering a soccer team. So I knew something about it. But doing TV, I just don't seem to have a rooting interest in it. Does Beal make the Hall of Fame? Well, whose Hall of Fame would that be, Mojo? Beal is a really nice number 2. He is not your number 1. He's being paid like a number 1, and that's what's killing the Wiz, but he's not a number 1. He's just kind of shown that. What have they done when he has been 1? Nothing. And he's had some injuries, but that's the way it goes. But, it was better when Wall was 1 and Beal was 2. That's when Beal did better. Justin, you're going to try and be all the next quarterback in the Women's Football League. Good luck with that. All right, Hall of Fame, easy, Justin Jenkins. For who? I lost track of this one now. Beal? Nah. Nah. Nice player. Had a decent career. But does he have any rings? Have they done anything really far with them? No. So I think they overpaid him, and they made a mistake to do that. But the Wiz, man, they're just I don't know what to say. It'd be better they've tried to give everybody away and then start over again. They tried to do that to get KD. Didn't work either. They just don't have any. They just can't get it together. And a series of bad drafts did not help. And now they traded away 3 2s as part of the future. And for some reason in the NBA, basketball is played worldwide, and yet after you get past the 4th guy in the draft, you can't find anybody. At least that's what Ernie always told us. All right, what's the best way to find affordable Nats tickets? Andy asked. If you go online, a lot of those you can get the day of the game. I would wait till the morning of the game, and that's when they drop the prices. And sorry you can't sit behind home plate for $5, but you can sit upstairs for $5. Matter of fact, they have $5 seats for the team. They're in the corners of the upper deck. A lot of people buy them and then just wander the stadium, go down to the bars and all, and just like an admission fee. So Justin says, I'm a goat. Thank you. And here's the Sam Howell in the future. There you go. Did I ever watch The Dips? And Cruyff asked, I am Jim. I did see Johan Cruyff once when I was a teenager. I got my dad to take me, and my dad thought I was insane going to see a soccer game. Didn't help. It was like 100 degrees that day at RFK. My dad actually was so hot, he bought us a soda. Okay, if you knew my dad, that's a miracle, man. He must have been on fire if he paid for a soda. That's how hot it was today. But it was cool to see him. Do the Wizards need new ownership, Mojo? Well, Wimby's, there's a guy buying into the group. Be interested to see what Ted's doing. I think Ted's more into sports betting and the growth potential there than he sometimes in this team. I just don't see the Wizards as a prime focus on everything. Going to a Caps game, says Tom. I usually don't go to Caps games, but I will say, if you had to ask me what's the best game experience in Washington, it's the Caps. It's roaring for 2 hours. At least as long as Ovi's still around. It is a lot of fun to go to Caps games, nonstop. So good luck with that. I enjoy them. I just can't always get to games. I've covered a million games. Speaking of baseball, what's the favorite minor league team to go see? Asked Deshaun. Well, there's a thing called the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, which are an independent league team, but they have a stadium here in Waldorf. And it's like double-A ball. And Brooks Robinson started them, but he sold them since. But they play local teams in the East Coast. So I like that. Billy's Bay Sox are fun. The traffic's terrible, but they're fun. I haven't been down to Fredericksburg since they moved there. Hagerstown is too far for me. Let's see. Justin went to the Wizards Portland game last weekend. Yeah, it was a tough loss. I remember that one. But what was the crowd? That's always interesting too. It's not just the Commanders with few local fans. When you go to NBA games, it seems like everybody's cheering for the other team. Not like the Caps. Caps, it's Caps fans. And Nats, it's mostly Nats fans. All right. So Tom says, should we pick up Young's fifth year? I would have. I'd say go ahead and earn it, and if you lose them, you lose them. I guess. It's the classic thing with this team about not getting great players to work out here. And Andy chipped in the thanks button. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. He's got to get back to work. Oh yeah, see, there you go. Don't tell the boss I gave you permission to have an hour off. Mojo asks, how close was I with Glenn Brenner? Not really. I knew Glenn and from afar more. I didn't work with him, but I thought he was a great guy. Everybody thought Glenn's a great guy. Buried at Oak Hill Cemetery. I've been to see his grave. It's not hard to find. If you ever want to go, just let me know. I'll tell you where it is. It's near the road. But Glenn was funny, and just a good guy. And the craziness he did back then would have him in HR now watching videos about don't do it again. Yeah, world was a different place. When I started in newsrooms, we were drinking beer in the newsroom. We just did. Matter of fact, when I covered horse racing for a few years, there was literally a beer tap within my reach, and beer was free for the press. And it used to be the older writers would have a rotation of 4 guys. 3 of them would get drunk and bet horses all day, and the 4th would write 4 versions of the story on the major stakes race that day. And back then, you used to have a teletype operator sit there with Morse code and send in the stories to each paper, so nobody had to deal directly with editors, and they could get blotted. And they would rotate who it was every day that designated. I was too young for that, but those stories just are wild. Let's see. Thompson, what should we do about middle linebacker? Well, I guess they're going to re-sign. My guess would they re-sign Cole Holcomb for that. I mean, maybe if somebody comes along in a draft, I haven't been hearing about a middle linebacker at 16. So I think that's for the next year to worry about. And they play a lot of 2 linebacker schemes anyway. So this team concentrate on the line and the secondary. Those are your 1 and 2, and linebackers 3rd. So it doesn't get quite as much attention on there. All right, we got about 15 minutes to go. I guess we didn't get anybody from Europe, so I guess I overestimated that, but I didn't know, and I underestimated how many Americans would say good. Maybe it's lunchtime out on the West Coast, and say you're eating a sandwich while you watch this. Well, all right. So it was worth a try to see what it's like. Maybe if everybody likes it, we'll do this during the season. I'm going to do a show on Monday after the Super Bowl, and I think that's like my 26th during the season. And I'm going to take a break until free agency. So that's like a month. Although if they sell the team or something, I'll do a special show. But I'll take about a month off and just goof off. It's usually Monday nights, and it'll be this Monday coming up. I don't want to be OC, Justin. I would just say, here's the ball, go throw it to somebody. My bold prediction, who'd be the new OC? Norv Turner. That's a bold prediction for you. But I think it is Zampese is my guess. But I'm only guessing. A couple things have to happen for that. And so anyway, the off-season plan, I'll do some shows around free agency and the draft and the camps. So, some weeks yes, some weeks no on doing this. And then by fall, we'll hit it again every Monday. Does the new RFK Stadium have stands at the Rock put in? Mojo asked. I think they're going to, they talked about it. Now it's Dan Snider's stadium idea. And you can throw those plans right in the trash because whoever takes over has got his own stadium plans. So all that work, gone. But they did want to do it. They wanted to create something there, and I'm sure they could. And it would be fun. Probably charge more to go stand in those sections. All you have to do is put in hydraulics so they could make that happen on there. They bounced at the old stadium at RFK, if you don't know, because they were temporary stands because it was also a baseball stadium. And so they would, you pull them out like the old high school bleachers, they would pull out. That's kind of how it worked too. So they weren't as sturdy. They weren't concrete, and so that's why they would go up and down on there at midfield because they were baseball outfield seats. So they might do something. Let's see. Tom, it sounds like Tom's got to go back to work too. So I do appreciate everybody coming on that one, Tom. I've got a few minutes to go. And then, like I said, if you're watching or you got to jump out or something, you can always watch it on replay. That YouTube always has it here. So, Honest Brute. Well, thank you, Honest Brute. Appreciate you throwing in some money. What are my feelings on Jason Wright? Not been impressed. I like Jason. Talked to him a bit. Good guy. It's a lot of energy. He's trying to do a lot of things. I think Jason needs a really good assistant to handle a lot of details that Jason doesn't have time to oversee, and they fall through the cracks, and then people look stupid. So he needs to go find somebody, not me, because I'm on the edge of retirement. I've had a job for 50 years. I'm trying to goof off some. I'll be semi-retiring, basically. I don't chase every dog down the street anymore, but I still work. And as I said, also a tour guide in DC if you want to come to DC. I've got a new book out about YouTube and how to start a channel on YouTube. I'll be talking about it soon. It's up on Amazon.com if you want to read it. It's a few bucks. I think it's my 10th book. But I've got some different projects to do, and I've got grandkids now, and I'm tired of working 80 hours a week, so I'm working like 40 hours a week. That's my semi-retirement. Steve, I'll mention your name to him. I'm sure he's looking for help. You know, it's funny about Jason. I took a picture of this building in Alexandria recently to show the difference between the big new one being built and the little old one. And he sends me a note and says, "Hey, I was in that little building when you took that picture. What are you doing?" A total random coincidence. It was really funny. We laughed about that. I said, "Yeah, I'm keeping my eyes on you, man." Does Jason stay with Bezos? Asked Mojo Daddy. My guess is no, at least not after short term. Let me turn this a little bit. The sun's getting to us again. I think the new guy would most likely want to have his own people. That doesn't mean first day he throws Jason to the curb with everybody else like Dan Snider did to so many people. If he's smart, he doesn't. And I'm sure Jason will not be out of work for long. I'm sure the NFL would love to have him back, among all the things. So we'll see. You know, that's one of those things you just don't know. Is Bezos still on the table? Asked Justin. Yeah. I mean, listen, man's got money and interest. He just doesn't want to tip his hand so much. So you know he's there. You know the bid's going to eventually go to him. Whatever they do, they're going to look over to Jeff and go, "And your bid is," and we'll see if he decides to step in or not. You know, will he sell the Washington Post? Yeah, hearing a lot of different things about that. And it's not because of anything to do with Dan Snyder, but because of business models and such. Media business is not what it was. I think Bezos might want to do something differently. We'll see. You know, that's up in the air too. But it has nothing to do with Dan Snyder. Amazon Arena sounds great, says Justin. That's right. I say, call it Welcome to the Jungle and just play that song all the time. And everybody howls in the stands as animals. That would be fun. It would be fun. And we have to go with a different generation of fans when they come in. But let me move around here. Look, the sun's coming through my back windows at, what time is it? 3:40. And it's kind of like, sets my new backyard. And I got to get curtains on this window, I guess. Let's see. All right. So it's the new one will be fun. They call it Amazon. Everybody can be primed for fun or whatever. Let's see. Steve says, disgusting that Snyder can make so much money after doing his best to run into the ground. Yeah, life ain't fair. Put that one down there as a big example. The jungle is the Bengal spot. Well, there could be a couple jungles. It's like there's the Amazon and there's the Nile. So who can have more than one jungle? Jeez, always somebody kills the joy. Off to another world. I'm just kidding you. Thing I do love about the Bengals, man, when they did those white helmets with the stripes, I love those. And I'm not a helmet guy of that kind of stuff. But that was pretty cool. Then you saw Joe Burrow wearing like a white stripe, tiger stripe, big coat. That was pretty cool too. It's almost enough to make me want to root for them. I do like Joe Burrow. He's the new Brady in some respects. I loved watching Brady, but Joe Burrow would be great. Honest Brew caught me and Andy Reid's video last night. BGR, best burgers around. I haven't been to BGR. People say I look like Andy Reid a lot, especially where I put my red cap on and all. And I used to be a little heavier, so I don't see it, but everybody else tells me so. So Andy comes on my show now once in a while. Matter of fact, Andy, are you still around here? Let's see. Andy. Oh, yeah, here he is right here. Hi, everybody. I'm on your chat show. Hi. Make sure you pay your price and come see us. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Andy, how is it that you're here when you're supposed to be worrying about the game? You asked. I came by. Sue me. All right. Well, thanks, Andy. I appreciate you coming by. We do a lot of shows together at times. So, I don't think we look alike, but whatever. That's on you guys. All right. Did I ever get to see Senators Frank Howard play? Yes, I did. I am Jim. It was my father's favorite player. That's how old he is. Frank's still alive, too. My dad was a 6'5" left-handed first baseman, was in the Yankees organization for just a year and decided this wasn't for him. He loved Frank Howard. So, yeah, I got to see him. What's with Matthew McConaughey linked up with Bezos? Off Another World's asked. He wants to be a minority partner. Now, if let's say $7 billion is the price, 700 million would be 10%. 70 million would be 1%. How much is Matthew McConaughey going to put in there? He's going to be like a quarter of 1% or something. I mean, I'd never do that for that kind of money. Just buy tickets, buy a suite if you're a big fan. Mojo says, I don't think the NFL would let Snider turn down $8 billion or more. Absolutely, because listen, they all one day will sell their teams too, and the more Dan gets for the Commanders, the more they'll get. Are we related? No, Off to Another World. We spell differently. He spells his with the Y. I spell mine with an I. And I'm older than him, so when he wants to call me Mr. Snider because I'm his elder, then maybe I'll say it in return. But we don't call him Mr. Snider, and he's younger than me, so that's how etiquette works. Mark, I watch the videos every day. Great. I'm glad you're doing it. And I agree with you. Post Snider skins are going to be a lot more fun to cover. Would new ownership make it more attractive to free agents? Asked Chris Johnson. Their money will. It won't hurt, but I don't think it's going to make a difference to free agents. They come for the money and the coach more than anything. Let's see. Off to Another World. I wonder if Bezos will be the signing bonus king. That's an interesting thing. I say he probably won't, but maybe you can get free Prime membership or something from him as a bonus. Now that actually would be against the salary cap rules to do that, if you wonder. Million. What do I think about Ron stating he's unsure about Chase Young? I think he's being honest about things for once and saying, hey, if you want this money, you got to go play well and get it. Not going to just be given to you. And I know they're a little frustrated with how things have gone there. I'm sure everybody is, because we all know that Chase can be, a great player like he was his first year. But the NFL is about earning it. You don't get it after your first contract. You don't get just things handed to you. You got to earn it. All right, got a few minutes to go here before we make you guys go back to work. I'm amazed as many of you came, especially since no one from Europe came. Okay, so my idea of that was a bust. But, oh well. Mark says, how bad was Doug's knee injury in Super Bowl 22? He only missed a play, and then he chased Schrader off the field and basically said, blanky blank, get off the field. So I guess it wasn't that bad. Those two were not friends. It was pretty contentious, and it was pretty much Schrader's fault, not Doug's. I was around covering that team. Schrader was kind of a difficult person, who also did very well that year and suddenly lost his job in the playoffs, and it's understandable. He was a little upset about it. Let's see. So Mark Butler's, I guess, kicking out here too. Yeah. Thank you, Mark, for coming. I appreciate everybody doing this. At least I didn't sit here alone wondering where everybody in Europe was and look like an idiot, but way it goes sometimes. You have a business plan, you try new things. Some of them work, some don't. But hey, I got to hang out with you guys, so that's great too. When Snider first bought the team in '99, says Mojo, did I ever think it would be this bad? No, I didn't think it would be this bad for this long. But we live and learn too. I do all the scenic views around there, Washington, because I am a tour guide, says Honest Brute, and he wants to know about places to go to that I would propose. Malcolm X Park, which is also called Meridian Hill, depends on who you ask, just got a refurbishing. It's just about maybe 10 blocks north of the White House. It's a park. Awesome place. Awesome place. A lot of wedding photos are there when we talk about proposing. I was there one time. There were 3 different wedding photos being taken. That's a really cool place. And they do the drum lines in the summer at night where guys come around and play all the drums. That's a lot, kind of unusual place. It's fun on there. So that's a key one right there. A lot of A lot of weddings and pictures are taken around the memorials. It's not unusual to be at like the Link Memorial or Jefferson and see a bride and groom walking by for pictures. I used to yell sucker, and then people got mad at me. So, let's see. Mojo, you wish Ron would be honest and admit he failed on Carson. I wouldn't say it's been a failure yet. Give it this year first on there. Mark's hoping Dan sells 100% and then buys Manchester United and runs them in the ground. If he thinks the American press has been rough on him, wait till the British press would get a piece of him. Whew. Man, Dan will pray I'd come over and write about him again. Would I ever consider live streaming a tour? Asked Deshaun. I'm not sure I know how to really do that. I mean, and make it all work. So I do put videos up here and there about tour spots, but probably not because I want you to come and pay me money. And I'm being honest with you. I do these things because I enjoy them, but I got to eat too. So I don't think I'd live stream a tour. I don't know. Sometimes people would film me as I'm doing it. It's kind of weird, but the other weird thing about being a tour guide is so many people would say, "Can we take pictures with you?" Yeah, okay. So there's pictures of me all over the world in somebody's living room. Who's that? I don't know, a tour guide. It's kind of a strange thing. Just as tipping, when I used to get tips as tour guide, I'd never been tipped before. So in my life, when I was 50, that was kind of weird, but I grew to like it. So if you don't like handing you money, if they enjoy it. So tip your tour guide, your servers. I'm a better tipper today than I used to be because you realize how much people rely on it in those industries. We don't tip newspaper guys or anything. Let's see. Mark says, was it Dan's call to hire Spurrier? Yeah, absolutely. Because he thought, oh, he's a successful college coach. Yeah, not too many successful college coaches become really good ones in the pros. And yes, Pete Carroll. I mean, there's guys here and there, but by and large, it's a different world at the college level. Skill sets there are different than pro skill sets. Spurrier's strengths were things like recruiting, dealing with alumni. That's not a pro skill set at all. And he did poorly at that. Firing Marty was Snyder's worst thing, says Russell. I agree with you on that. I mean, it was his number one mistake was firing Marty. Number two would be firing Casserly. All right. So Deshaun's got to go back to work. Thank you for coming, Deshaun. Appreciate it. Anybody wants to throw money in before I hit the bell and leave, I appreciate that too. On there. And, so we've got, free agency starts. Well, I'd say this next week. Look for the offensive coordinator, whomever it's going to be named. Then we got a couple weeks free until free agency starts. I expect it to be kind of a quiet free agency. Not like the old days when Snider would just go spend $1 billion to get people. That was interesting, if nothing else. Here comes Dion. Here comes Bruce Smith. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. And then the draft's not till the end of April, but of course we'll talk about that depth. The NFL Combine's coming up pretty soon. So I still do videos, twice a day, 6 a.m., usually scheduled in the evening ones when I can get it done, but usually 5 or 6 is around there. Off to another world. Thank you very much for it. I appreciate that. So I still do stuff, and I do some tour guide ones and food one now and then. Like I say, next week, pizza, maybe next Friday it'll be up. I'm trying to have some fun with it. We try to have some fun doing this on there. Mark, I appreciate you guys coming in. Yeah, we are. I finally got my garage emptied of all the boxes after 3 months. Thank God. They're all in the basement now. But we're putting away some of it. I still can't find my chainsaw I need. Cincinnati is off to another world. It's there. Oh, good. Let's see where people are from. We get people from everywhere. It's amazing how many people. My Rick Snider's Washington across social media has been seen by 11 million people. Woo, who knew that? People come up to me now all the time, say hello. I've been doing this 45 years, but the YouTube and Twitter exposure has been amazing for all that. So I'm always amazed that people come up and say hi. And people will write to me, I didn't want to bother you. It's not a bother. Come by and say hi. I have to be nice because if I'm a jerk, you'll tell everybody. So, it depends on, I have a lot of time to say hello, but I will do it, and I do appreciate it. And that's the difference between me and like 35-year-old beat writer me who didn't have time for people because he was too caught up in what I was doing, as a younger man. But today, I'm a little more mellow for that reason. All right. Yeah, I do have the bell. My grandson found it yesterday, and he's 3 years old. He was binging it till Nana told him to stop. So we do the bell. Steve's coming by. Thank you, Steve, for coming. I appreciate it. Everybody else, I appreciate it. There'll be a new video coming up in about an hour. I don't even remember what it's about, but let's see. Can I tell you what it's about? The next one coming up. Oh, it's about Sam Howe. Is at 5 o'clock next morning. Is about Chase Young, and whatever else happens. And otherwise, we'll be around. I am, 7 days a week. We just keep doing this. So next Monday night's another chat. If you want to come at 8 p.m. Eastern on all of that. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been an interesting matinee. It's kind of like the nighttime show. So maybe I should do matinees more and I won't have to lose sleep later. All right. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thank you for coming. I'll see you again soon.